trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track.
Another Queen Ahmadiyyah production.
Haze on the corner, they talking real loud. Spreading on light, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. Got my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda swirling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules. In this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. Or actually, we missed the morning wake-up call. This is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time Queen Goddess goes live. All right, hello, Reggie G from the land. Claudette Desmond is in the virtual building. All right, Nessie X Perplex is here. Let's get into it. Everybody hit that like button. I see you, Deronda. DJ Big Six is here. All right, we the people. All right, shout out to all of my loyal royals. I see you, Chris B. Okay, let's get ready to get into it. Emperor Rex, Queen Amoni Huey. All right, one box is here. Okay, now before we get started, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Okay, also don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the Queen's channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications. All right, here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right, y'all heard what the lady said. Try 12 Tribes hair oil today. Okay, you can purchase it at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And she sells beard oil. All right, so Miss AP has made it. Love Christy and that crazy beach Aries. All right, so with that all being said, let's get into it because we have a lot to cover. There has been more information come out about these nefarious Trumpstein files. Okay, that's what they should be called. And the details are salacious and disgusting, okay? At the end of the day. Now, Elon has been posting so much on X, trying to, I guess trying to mail-splain and make everyone think that he had no nefarious intentions, but lying and saying that, in fact, he didn't go to the island, that Epstein kept trying to get him there, trying to coax him there, but he said no. Dude, we already saw the post. We already saw the emails with you pretty much almost begging to come to that island. Okay, Elon needs to sit down somewhere. And that video that I did talking all that trash about him on TikTok, I didn't even post it to X because I didn't want him shadow banning me any further. That's what I didn't want him to do. Okay, so now let's get into it. We're going to talk about these emails, and then we're going to talk about the situation going on with ICE. Okay, it's all crazy. Okay, so that all being said, now they say that Bill Clinton and Bush are worded a boy. Okay, that's what they are talking about. That's what's been reported. Now, I did read to you all about that the other day where they said George Bush did something like that. But here's the thing. We don't know if it's George H.W. Bush or George W. Bush. Okay, because it didn't specify. Now, I don't want to go out on a limb and guess, but, we don't know which one it is. Okay, that's even what they report. They're not sure which one it is. But let's get into the nefarious allegations. Also, before I get started with that, well, yeah, I'll go ahead and get started with this, but it's so much, I don't know where to start, to be honest. But also, there was a diary of a 16-year-old found, and it's really sad. We're going to talk about that too. Okay, so they say Bill Clinton and George Bush accused of raping a boy in a yacht of ritualistic sacrifices. Now, first, let me say this. For those of you who have been following me since 2020 when I started my channel, for those of you, y'all have been here with me from day one, even when ScrewTube took my channel and I had to go to court with them and all of that, and I got it back and everything. But for those of you that were here since then, do you all remember the Hillary Clinton emails? Because I think it's time for me to dig those back up. I think sometime today I'm going to dig them back up and go over them because I want you all to see how this is all the same. This is why I've been telling you all that these people are all in on it together. It's not about the right or the left. It's both. Oh, you have both, okay? And then you have multiple presidents whose names are mentioned. And let me just say, Barack Obama's name has not been mentioned as of yet, and not to my recollection. But you have several presidents' names in here. And all of these people are interlinked, like I told you all yesterday. Okay, you have the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh. Okay, you have Steve Tisch, the co-owner of the Giants. Okay, you have William Barr, Trump, of course, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, George Bush. Okay, think about that. All of these people, but yet Todd Blanche said there's not going to be any further prosecutions. Why not? Why aren't there going to be further prosecutions with all the trove of evidence that they have, all of the things that we've been able to see over the past few days? This is all the same things that was in those Hillary Clinton emails. So I'm sorry, all of this stuff is supposed to be conspiracy theories. It's all made up. None of it happened. So no babies were dismembered. There was no sacrifices. Let me tell y'all something. For those of you who remember, I told you all a story about 6 years ago, and I'm going to tell that story again because I'm going to tell the story so that you can understand possibly better how some of the nefarious things that are in these emails likely happened. You see, when the young girl who left that diary that I'm going to read from, she talked about having multiple children, babies, and then them being taken away. And basically, I said, now, why would they be forcing her to have these babies? Because she says that she thinks they killed them. And of course they did. But if they were going to just kill them, why would they have her to get impregnated? And then I remembered the story that this lady told me years ago that I in turn told you all. So I'm not going to tell the story right now. I'll wait till I get to that part of the discussion. Now, at this point, I'm just rambling, okay, like Trump. Let me continue. Okay, so basically they said that they raped a boy on a yacht in a ritualistic sacrifice. Now, the last tranche of Epstein files released on Friday shows an email exchange where former U.S. President Bill Clinton and George Bush have been accused of R-wording a boy. The boy, in an interview with FBI agents on August the 27th of 2019, made some horrifying claims. This wasn't that long ago, 2019. He said that he was on a yacht where he was raped and he was taken to Sodom and Gomorrah. Y'all know what I'm talking about. By Epstein in 2000. U.S. President Trump was also present on that trip. Now, here's the thing, and this is why Trump, he can sit there and act like this absolves him, because that's what the fool is saying. He's so delusional and so narcissistic, okay, that he's sitting here acting as though anything that's come out now proves that he's innocent. It proves that he knew about everything that was going on pretty much and likely was a whole co-conspirator. Okay? Because even if we wanted to say maybe he didn't do anything, which of course I think he absolutely did, but even if we thought he didn't, for the people that foolishly want to hold on to hope and say, oh, he maybe he was just mentioned, didn't do anything. Fact of the matter is, he knew darn well what was going on and what was being done and who was doing it, which was Jeffrey Epstein, his bromance partner. Okay, there's no way you can convince me or anybody with sense that he didn't know what the hell was going on. And also, several of these exchanges say that Trump was present. Okay, so let's continue. So, with that all being said, Trump was present on the trip. Yeah, I find that, like I said, totally egregious. So, I'm going to actually go to those emails. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to pull up the footage. Okay, here we go. Okay, now let's see what this says. This is from August the 28th of 2019 at 12:43 p.m. It says, thanks. Here's what it says at the top. Hold on. Let me start at the very beginning. Okay, it says reference to interview of purported Epstein victim. All right, importance, it says normal. Okay, he has more to tell us. He has more to tell us too, he said. Okay, so with that all being said, they don't mention the person's name. They just says a purported Epstein victim. Thanks, blank. I didn't realize Bush R-worded him too. Okay. SSA blank. Okay, FBI New York. Now, goes on to say, I'd like to add a few other points disclosed by the purported victim. While on this yacht, he witnessed African-American males having sex with white blonde females, all of whom were bleeding during intercourse. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar, but left no scarring. Now, hold on for a second. Do y'all hear this? Hold on, beloveds. Let me just check something real quick. Okay, the word is scimitar. The word is scimitar. Hold on. I guess the C is silent. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out what this is, honey. I've never seen this word before. I know y'all think I know everything, but trust me, I don't. Okay, so it's a short sword with a curved blade that broadens toward the point, usually are used originally in Turkey and the Middle East. So this was some kind of weapon, a scimitar. Okay, so it says they cut his feet with this. It's like a small sword. Okay, please pay attention, with a curve in it. Now, I think I've seen those before, just never knew what they were called, but it left no scarring. Now, on the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, and individuals eating the feces from these intestines. He was also R-worded by George Bush, one. Now, when they say one, are they talking about senior? Because they say George Bush one. Hold on, let me just check something real quick. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, I was trying to see because they have George Bush 1. I was trying to clarify whether or not this was the father or the son. But again, it says the same thing that I've been reading. It says while George Bush 1 is listed, it remains unclear whether this refers to former President George H.W. Bush Sr. or George W. Bush. Okay, so we still don't know which one is which. Okay, and neither one of them is going to come out and tell us, I'm so sure. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, let's continue. So it goes on to say, he was R-worded by George Bush 1. Victim disclosed he was escorted to the FBI building by Michael Moore, okay, who is the creator of True Pundit, described by multiple online sources as a conspiracy-driven news website that attempts to paint the FBI in a bad light. Moore has a criminal record as a result of an FBI investigation. Okay, then they talk about copyright infringement. Let me know if you want to discuss the former FBI agent that called this into the head office. Thanks. Now, I read that part of that the other day. Okay, now here's what it further goes on to say. On Tuesday, August 27th of 2019, myself and SA conducted an interview of a purported victim of Jeffrey Epstein as per a referral by former FBI SA and journalist Michael Moore, not the filmmaker. At 1200 hours, a male identified as blank and blank arrived at the C20 office. Blank stated he was unemployed and resides with his mother and her unemployed, morbidly obese boyfriend. Now, Blank stated he has ingested hallucinogenic mushrooms as well as other illicit substances in the past and currently smokes Mary Jane. Blank reported being R-worded and taken to Sodom and Gomorrah by his great uncle since the age of 5 years old until age 22. Blank described meeting Epstein at a yacht club in blank of his relatives, were members, first at age 5 and later at age 8. Blank states he was R-worded and then taken to Sodom and Gomorrah by Epstein in 2000 on a large yacht, 9 out of the blank, as well as by former U.S. President William J. Clinton. Blank states the also current President Trump, along with his wife Melania, were present during the said yacht trip in 2000. Trump not married to his current spouse Melania until 2005. Okay, so I guess they made a note of that because it says he was there with his wife, but notified that they weren't married. Okay. Blank reports while being raped by Epstein and Clinton, he was in a heavy drug-induced state. Blank stated all of the above victims were recovered repressed memories until he began therapy sometime in 2016 approximately. Blank offered no supporting or corroborating evidence or witnesses that could be contacted. Blank appeared to be emotionally unbalanced and not intoxicated, and at this time, it is not recommended that any additional investigative resources be expended, okay, concerning Blank's claim. Okay, do y'all hear this? Do y'all hear that? Now, what do y'all make of that? This is what they're saying, alleging that Bill Clinton and George Bush Jr. or Sr. did. Okay, all nefarious at the end of the day. Now, with that all being said, let's go. We're going to talk about this diary next. So let's go to my TikTok first. Hold on, I'm going to share my screen. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ahmadiyyah Shakur. There was a journal of a 16-year-old girl found in the Epstein files. Let's get into it. In the diary, she mentions having multiple babies. She also mentions an instance when Ghislaine Maxwell came and took a baby from her, and then minutes later was speaking about it in past tense. Okay, please pay attention. Here she says, in the hall, Ghislaine said she was beautiful. She was, not is. She was a beautiful girl. I heard her. Where is she? Why did she stop whimpering? She was born. I heard the tiny cries. I can't do this anymore. This is all so sad and clearly nefarious. Another passage she writes, "My heart belonged to her. She was so very beautiful. She was perfect. I can't bring myself to write what happened. I am so broken. I only got 10 to 15 minutes to feed her before they took her away. She's mine. I want her back." Distraught. This is absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, I haven't read anything this sad since the Diary of Anne Frank. Please pay attention. In this passage, she's actually apologizing to Epstein and explaining to him that, these things happen sometimes when your body hasn't been given the proper amount of time to heal. And she talks about something falling into the toilet that she didn't know what to do. And so she basically flushed it. And I think we know what she's talking about here. Okay. And then she goes on to say how she's grown numb. She basically hates him and doesn't want to ever see him again. And then she asks, "Where is the baby? Where is Ghislaine?" So clearly she was being forced to have multiple children, okay, multiple babies that she didn't get to keep, and they all of a sudden just disappeared and were spoken of in past tense, which leads me to think that maybe there was something ritualistic going on here, maybe some sort of sacrifice or some harvesting of an energy, perhaps. Okay, please pay attention. It is also diabolical and so sad and just absolutely nefarious that anyone had to go through something like this. Now, in this passage, she talks about being born a slave. And in another caption, she basically talked about a slave camp. Now, some of the entries were written in coded messaging that you had to decode, and then some was written in newspaper and magazine clippings. The coded messaging had to be read diagonally from top to bottom, basically. Now, here is what this one actually says. Flights of fancy. Okay, decoded it says, "There are always flights of horror, whether it's with Jeffrey, Mr. Leonsis, Mr. Case, Mr. Snyder, the Gregorys, Mr. Colgan, or one being borrowed by a seemingly good federal worker and even rented. It's all horror. And nothing is as it seems. I am so confused by everything and people you expect to be good, like even old senators like George Mitchell, who you think will be like a grandpa, are bad. Mr. Kimsey is deranged. The answer is C, crazy. It all is." Now, in two other entries with coded messaging, she mentions Ivana Trump getting a divorce from Donald and saying, "Does this woman know that she has no dignity after being with him? I know I have none, only Skittles." She also mentions Mar-a-Lago. Okay, please pay attention. Check the door. Thought I heard someone at the door. Okay, so she mentioned Mar-a-Lago. God damn it. Hold on, beloveds. Okay, sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so one box says Bush, Nim are skull and bone. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That has been a rumor for a long time. Listen, all of these presidents are Masons, allegedly. Okay, allegedly. Now, with that all being said, thank you for your insight into the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Deronda said, "Got Queen cursing." Okay, now let's continue because I'm going to pull up the diary of the young girl. What's interesting because for a minute I almost thought maybe this was Virginia Giuffre's diary because she kept one too, which she ended up writing a memoir about her experiences. It was titled "Nobody's Girl." I feel so sad for Virginia Giuffre. I always will. But I thought it was her diary for a minute because the person who it belongs to is not named. But it isn't hers, in my opinion, because when I looked up information on her diary, it said that it was pink. It was a pink spiral binder or something like that. So this is from the 16-year-old, old enough to drive, too young to go anywhere fun. And it has attorney's eyes only on here. Now, see, I want you all to pay attention to how she wrote a lot of this stuff in coded messages. She also used a lot of magazine clippings and newspaper clippings for some of the stuff she put in here. Now, see, when you're reading it, you have to go up and down, okay, to figure out what she said. But here's the thing. I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but I just want you all to see some of the stuff she had in here. How she talked about being a slave, Suddenly the insignificant ugly duckling was obviously going to be a swan. Okay, she was talking about herself, I guess. Um, she also talked about being used as an incubator, as a human incubator, because they were making her have these babies. Oh, and that's the thing. So let me get into that. Okay, so here's the thing. When she says that she was having these multiple children, and of course, one of them she miscarried and it fell into the toilet and she flushed it. She said she flushed the fetus or whatever. And she was apologizing to Jeffrey and saying that when your body doesn't properly heal or hasn't had time to heal correctly, these things can happen. And I didn't know what to do, so I flushed it. I'm thinking, why is she apologizing to him? What did he want to do with that fetus? And second of all, or with that baby? And why was he making her have all of these babies? Okay, so I'm going to tell you all a story. Some of you've already heard it, but listen, there was a woman, a Caucasian woman, who came to me. This was probably in 2019. Okay, I met her on Facebook. But so anyway, I was having some conversations with Donald Marshall, okay, who has revealed a lot of information about cloning centers and all kinds of stuff. That sounds crazy. Okay, but anyway, that's how I met this lady because she was following him too, or whatever. Okay, and we had this little group. But anyway, she ended up telling me how her family belonged to a coven of witches. She said her family belonged to a coven of witches and that there was thousands of these families in the United States alone and how they engage in these satanic practices and rituals. And what she said, now I want you all to pay attention because how would I know this unless somebody who knows about this stuff told me? Okay, please pay attention. So she said what they would do is they'd have the high priest, okay, of the Satanist, of the cult. They would have this man to impregnate a young girl who was a virgin. Now, what they would do is they would remove the child from school and start homeschooling them. And the girls would usually be about 12 years old. It makes me think about that email where Donald Trump, a victim says that Donald Trump, they heard him threatening another victim that if she opened her mouth and said anything, she would disappear just like the 12-year-old girl did. Okay, that's what that made me think of. But anyway, they would usually get someone around the age of 12, take them out of school, have them homeschooled, and then they would have this priest, satanic priest, having relations with them until they got pregnant. Now, once they got pregnant, they wouldn't take them to any doctor's appointments or anything, of course, and for very obvious reasons. So they would let them have the child at home. So there's no birth certificate, there's no record this child ever existed or was ever even born. The reason they want this child is because they want to harvest the energy from this child. They want to sacrifice it. Okay. And so then she said they would go into like a forest or wherever, and they would have this satanic ritual, everyone dressed in their cloaks and their capes and hoods and all that stuff, whatever they wear with their goblets. They go there and they drink the blood. Okay. All of this stuff. Then to dispose of the body, she said they would have already gone to like a funeral home and where there's going to be a funeral in a day or so. And they would go to the grave site where they've already dug the grave and they would bury that baby in that grave so that when they have the funeral, the casket is put over the dead baby that's already buried in the dirt that nobody knows. Now, I didn't make that up. I didn't make that up. Okay. I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention. Now, Ronnie said, Queen, did you mean convent? No, I meant coven, beloved. Convent, that's what nuns have. And nuns are holy. Witches who are nefarious, okay, they have covens, a coven of witches, beloved, not a convent. Those are for nuns. Okay, that just further lets me know how nefarious you actually are in real life, Roddy. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, who's getting a convent mixed up with a coven? Now he says sounds eerily similar to Scientology. Now you would probably know, beloved. But let me continue. Sosa said, I heard this story before and believe it wholeheartedly. Okay. And it's sad how sick and evil rich people are. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So you've been following me when I told this the last time in 2020, I think it was. Now, with that all being said, Reggie said they also have hives, Queen. Okay. Now let's continue. This is all nefarious. Also sad. And hold on, what does it say? What a very jolly and amusing and attractive 16-year-old she was. Great fun and bouncy. Okay, this is basically, I'm not going to read this stuff. I just want you all to see some of the things that were in here. And no one has said as of yet how long she was there. Okay. Now, let me just show you all something real quick with this coded stuff. If you can see this, hold on, let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Okay, hopefully you all can see that. Okay, so look, here's how you figure it out. You see the T, then you go down to the H, then you go back up to the E, and then down to the Y. They, okay, they, and then you go A-R-E, they are, and then A-L-W-A-Y-S, they are always. Okay, and that's how you read it. They are always flying. Okay, so with that being said, you had to decode some of her messaging. I don't know why. I'm not sure why she chose to do it that way. Maybe in case Ghislaine or Epstein came into the room and found what she was writing. That's probably why. It's the only reason I would think, and found what she was writing. So she probably just wrote it in coded messaging in the hopes that they wouldn't figure out what it actually said, because she was exposing them basically. So, very sad. I don't know who this is a picture of, whose child this is. But, the saddest thing for me is the fact that she had to have all of these children, didn't get to keep them. And she talked about how her heart was so broken and she was so sad. Okay. Good morning. Please explain. They know and won't talk about it. How much do you need to see to know I'm beautiful? Never forget where real beauty comes from. Beauty is inside. I wonder what she was thinking when she wrote some of this stuff. Here's a poem that she wrote called Stopped Dead. A squeal of brakes, or is it a birth cry? And here we are hung out over the dead drop. Uncle Pants Factory, fat soul millionaire, and you out cold beside me in your chair. The wheels, two rubber grubs, bite their sweet tails. Is that Spain down there? Red and yellow, two passionate hot metals, writhing and sighing. What sort of scenery is it? It isn't England, it isn't France, it isn't Ireland. It's violent. We're here on a visit with a god dang baby screaming off somewhere. There's always a bloody baby in the air. I'd call it a sunset, but whoever heard a sunset yowl like that? You are sunk in your seven chins, still as a ham. Who did you think I am? Uncle, sad Hamlet with a knife. Where do you stash your life? Is it a penny, a pearl, your soul, your soul? I'll carry it off like a rich, pretty girl. Simply open the door and step out of the car and live in Gibraltar on air. I don't know what that all meant, but it sounded like she was talking about her uncle as if he did something nefarious to her. And I do believe that there was something that alluded to something like that in one of these passages. Okay, passages. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's continue because we got to move on. There's a lot of stuff to get through. Okay. Um, Now, with that all being said, let's go to this new file that I came across. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so now let's see what this one says. Complainant reported meeting a Lisa Villanueva at a hospital. They were roommates in 2000, who now goes by Ghislaine Lisa Villanueva. Okay, now complainant was invited by Villanueva to a party on Palm Beach Island, Florida, to a resident she believes to have belonged to Epstein. There she met a model scout named Bobby Cox, whom Villanueva allegedly referred to as a pimp. Complainant stated Villanueva spoke with a hostess at the residence, whom complainant believed to be Ghislaine Maxwell. While at this party, complainant stated they had all been invited by Donald Trump to a party in Mar-a-Lago. Complainant told Villanueva she wanted to go to that party and was allegedly told by Villanueva that it was for prostitutes. The names mentioned are Bobby Cox, Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, and Jeffrey Epstein. Now, when complainant was 14 years old, Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly approached her about modeling, international travel, and massages. Complainant never reached out to Maxwell because the offer sounded as if it was mostly based around modeling, which complainant was unable to do because of a blank. Okay, now complainant reported his ex-girlfriend Blake were victims of Epstein, and one was murdered while working as a limousine driver. Okay, while working as a limousine driver, complainant recalled picking up Donald Trump in 1995 to take him to Dallas Fort Worth Airport. During that ride, complainant recalled some of the things Trump spoke about on his cell phone. Were very concerning and described being a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. Complainant noted Trump repeatedly stated the name Jeffrey while on the phone. One of the complainant's ex-girlfriends, Blake, told complainant Trump R-worded her, as did Epstein. The names mentioned are Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, John W. Nichols, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Cheryl Renee Duke. Let me tell y'all something. Anything nefarious, Bill and Hillary Clinton, with their names attached to it, I absolutely believe it. Okay, I absolutely believe it. The dirt that I found on them years ago is absolutely nefarious. Now, complainant reported her neighbor sought modeling gigs at the Trump modeling agency in NYC between the years 1998 to 2000. Complainant reported neighbor allegedly went on cruises set up by a recruiter or head of the agency and once showed complainant a photo of the recruiter whom complainant recalled looking like Epstein. Complainant reported neighbor was allegedly raped several times during this time period. Names are Lisa Marie Presley, British royal family, Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein. Complainant reported her neighbor sought modeling gigs at the Trump modeling agency. Okay, I already read that. Caller provided information to reference prior civil case from 13 years ago that involved Trump and mentioned Jeffrey Epstein with a minor. This is all so nefarious. Do y'all hear this? Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump. Complainant following up after a call with NYPD officer. Hold on, let me scroll up. Okay, regarding her previous tip, reporting that she was forced to perform S acts when she was 13 years old and pregnant in 1994. Complainant also reported there was high-profile individuals involved in her S trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Okay, so now I want you all to pay attention because now what we have here are different victims talking about newborn children being birthed and deleted. Okay? I want you all to pay attention. Now, with that all being said, hold on. Where was I? Okay, now, 13 years old and pregnant in 1984. Complainant also reported there were high-profile individuals involved in her S trafficking and the murder and disposal of her newborn daughter. Complainant reported Donald Trump participated regularly and paid money to force her to perform S acts with him and alleged Trump was present with her when her uncle murdered her newborn child. See, that's what I'm talking about. I thought that I remembered reading something somewhere about an uncle doing something nefarious. Okay, now with that all being said, well, this might be the same young girl then. This may be the young girl who left the diary. This is just younger when she was likely 13. Okay, probably when this stuff first started happening. Anyway, it sounds like it's the same person because she mentions Trump. And also she did say that she had relations with Trump when she brought up Ivana Trump getting a divorce from him and saying that in the coded messaging, when I deciphered it, it basically said, does this woman know that she has no dignity after being with him? I know that I have none, only Skittles. So when she said she knows she had none, she's saying she has no dignity. Why is she saying that? Because she was saying she's been with Trump too. Okay, and so now here we have it again where she's saying, I'm assuming it's the same person saying that she had been paid to have acts with him many times. Okay, so Collar was taken by boat to Epstein's island. Collar said it was complicated and involved Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Collar became a school counselor and had a meeting with a school principal, Linda Kitts, and a police officer where the Collar was informed there were pictures of herself with Epstein. Collar reported the school was mad at her for not being a Trump person and that the school wanted her to testify and say things about Andrew Cuomo. The FBI and Donald Trump were on the phone during the meeting. Carter believes the FBI has baby pictures of her with Epstein. Do you all hear this? Baby pictures. And then the names mentioned are Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Linda Kitts, Donald Trump, and Andrew Cuomo. Now, Carter reported that in 1987, a friend, Victim 1, was out drinking and ended up at Trump Plaza. Victim 1 saw Donald Trump, and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce her to Trump. The unknown man gave Victim 1 a drink, and Victim 1 woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed. Victim 1 didn't remember how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of Trump's face. Victim 1 called the caller and told her she thought she had been R-worded. Victim 1 did not go to a hospital to have a test kit performed, because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she was drunk. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and Victim 1 believed Trump was behind it. Victim 1 also started dating a lawyer, identifiers unknown, who was married. Victim 1 had a fight with her lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. Victim 1 left the bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but who seemed familiar with Victim 1. Victim 1 was never seen again. Wow, do y'all hear this? A few years ago, remains were discovered that matched the description of what Victim 1 was wearing when she went missing. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. Wow, y'all hear this? Murder and intrigue. Please pay attention. And this is why they're saying, and I agree, that they need to dig up Trump's golf course. Okay, and if they don't know which one, dig up all of them, because he has multiple ones. But there has been some stuff in the emails about a threat being made and someone being told they'd be buried on the 9 holes like the rest of the CUNTSs, if you all remember. So anyway, goes on to say, hold on, where was I? Okay, said the DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. In 2004 and 2005, Sir Ivan Wilczek hosted a party where Jeffrey Epstein, Sammy Sosa, and Donald Trump were in attendance. Patti LaBelle's PR agent stood at the door. At the party, caller met an individual who was approximately 18 to 23 years of age, who was brought from Oklahoma for a modeling job, but then sold to a man in France. Several women were being auctioned, and a woman possibly known as Colette, LNU, was the madam. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, or if that's just, I don't know, just some added initials or whatever. Okay, a couple of years later, caller saw Colette at the Cheetah Club in New York, New York. And she told one of Santos's friends that Jamie Foxx was interested in spending a night with her and that he could pay her a lot of money. Names mentioned: Sir Ivan Wilczek, Jeffrey Epstein, Sammy Sosa, Patti LaBelle, Donald Trump, Jamie Foxx. Donald Trump, the president, had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Jeffrey Epstein would bring the children in, and Trump would auction them. Okay, names mentioned: Jeffrey Epstein, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and Donald Trump. I would think that means Donald Trump Jr. Okay, he would auction them off. He measured the children's vulva and vajayjays. This is all gross and entering. Okay, we're going to skip past that. Donald Trump Jr., Ivanka Trump, and Eric Trump were there. Attorney Alan Dershowitz was also there with attorney Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to have relations with Donald J. Trump, okay, to get down on their knees to taste cucumbers, okay, forced to allow them to do the acts. And I was 13 years old when Donald J. Trump did what he did, and Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. This is why she's covering for Donald Trump. This is why Ghislaine says she doesn't know anything about Trump doing anything wrong, and she wants a pardon. Now, this says, Child Exploitation and Human Trafficking Task Force. Okay, this is Wednesday, August the 6th of 2025. Is the list I sent Whitney with names of Trump accusers from NTOC. Some of these individuals are reporting secondhand information. Okay, so that's what they say. They're talking about Trump's accusers. Some of them are reporting secondhand information, and here's why. Because some of the victims are dead. Some of the victims are no longer here. They're dead. And so some of the people that also witnessed things or heard things, well, that's all they have in some cases. This is all just a really, this is just like so infuriating to know that these things were going on. And what's even more angering is the fact that nothing's going to be done about it. Nothing's going to be done about it because Todd Blanche has already let us know that they're not going to do anything. He's already let us know there's not going to be any more arrests. Okay, so what is all this even for? Just so we know there needs to be consequences. And let's go back to Elon's emails with his lying self, acting as though he never went there, never wanted to go. Epstein was just trying to coax him the whole time. Please. Okay. Tuesday, December 25th of 2012. Ratio is not a problem for Tallulah. On December the 25th of 2012 at 5:54 a.m., Jeffrey Epstein, okay, sent this. Understood. I will see you at Barth. Okay, the ratio on my island might make Tallulah uncomfortable. On Tuesday, December 25th of 2012, Elon Musk wrote, do you have any parties planned? I've been working to the edge of sanity this year. And so once my kids head home after Christmas, I really want to hit the party scene in St. Bart's or elsewhere and get loose. The invitation is much appreciated, but a peaceful island experience is the opposite of what I'm looking for. Okay? Now it says you are welcome to stay or just come for the day. Plenty of room. I will send a heli to get you. Okay? And there's even more. Elon's mentioned in her a myriad of times, but he wants us to think that he didn't have anything going on, like sit down some darn where. And then he's also trying to use the fact that he called out Trump about the Epstein stuff. He's also trying to use that to now make it seem as though, yeah, I've been trying to tell you all to release it all this time. Sit down somewhere, okay? That's what you can do, because the only reason he came out and said anything about Trump was because he was mad at it, because they fell out. Now that you're back together, you're not saying ish, okay? That's what you're not doing. Now, here's another one that mentions Woody Allen. These are some more Epstein's. Hold on. I mean, not Epstein's, Elon. Hold on, let me share my screen. These devils are something else. They really, really are. Okay, so now this one, we already saw that one. This one says November 23rd of 2013. Okay, will you come to Caribbean this Christmas? Woody Allen with me. Okay, and this is to Elon. As you can see, it says Jeffrey, then Elon Musk. Okay, then this is on the same day. It says, actually, I could fly back early on the 3rd. We will be in St. Bart's. We should be should we head to your island on the 2nd? Okay, and then it says Elon, and this is blacked out, of course. I need to fly back to LA on the night of the 2nd. Okay, then it says the 2nd or 3rd will be perfect. I will come and get you. Any day, 1st through 8th. Play it by ear if you want. Always space for you. That's what Epstein told him. Always space for you. What does that mean? That means Elon was going there a lot of times. Okay, please miss us with it, Elon. Okay, we know you're nefarious. At the end of the day, all of these devils are just the same. This is so damn sickening. Just think about it. Absolutely deplorable. And let's not leave out the co-owner from the Giants, which is no surprise because I already told you all about Roger Kraft. Okay, I already told you about the Patriots owner years ago when they got busted. And guess where they all were? Down there at Mar-a-Lago. Do you all see how this is all coinciding? They're talking about Trump throwing these parties, calendar girl parties and other parties for wild nights and all that stuff at Mar-a-Lago, inviting all of these PDF files. And then years ago, back in 2020, 2019 or 2020, I think it was 2020. That's when Roger Kraft and all these men, like 200 and something men, were down at Mar-a-Lago trafficking these Asian women. They had these women held up in a beauty supply or like a massage parlor. That's what they had them, like at massage parlors, okay? All of these people down there, okay? And did any of them get serious consequences? No. All right, they didn't. Giants co-owner Steve Teach named in latest Epstein files. Convicted ex-offender Jeffrey Epstein connected New York Giants co-owner Steve Teach with numerous women, according to scores of emails among the more than 3 million documents released by the Justice Department on Friday. Here's the thing. The other day when I first started showing you all these emails, I absolutely had emails with Teach's name on it. I thought it was a woman, and I was trying to make sense of it, like Teach wants to go meet this woman to do this and that. I didn't know who the person was. It wasn't a first name. It just said Teach. And then I accidentally deleted that a couple of those emails, those same ones. And then I find out that it's none other than Steve Teach. Well, isn't that interesting? But let me continue. So Teach's name appears at least 440 times among the documents released. The emails first reported by The Athletic range from the mundane. Jeffrey says Steve Teach might come over around 7 to 7:30 tonight. Snacks for everyone. To the profane email. In one email, Epstein asked, "Did you contact the great ASS fake tit?" And the name's redacted. Wonder who he was talking about. Teach, 76 years old, is chairman, co-owner, and vice president of the Giants, and has produced dozens of Hollywood films, including Forrest Gump and A Risky Business. Okay, I'm telling y'all, these people with all this money and power, they're all in on this stuff. Y'all need to pay attention. We had a brief association where we exchanged emails about adult women, and in addition, we discussed movies, philanthropy, and investments. Teach said of Epstein in a statement on Friday. Okay, I don't want you to pay attention. He sounds like he's lying. He said we discussed and exchanged emails about adult women. He made sure to put that in to make it seem as though he didn't have anything to do with PDF files. Sir, if you're hanging out with a PDF file who hangs out with other PDF files, I would think that you two are a PDF file. Sit down somewhere. Okay, I don't care what he says. Now he says, I did not take him up on any of his invitations. Same thing Elon says, deny, deny, deny. Okay, and never went to his island. Didn't Elon say the same thing? So nobody went to the island. All of these people in the files, all of these people with emails talking about them going to the island, being invited, accepting invitations, even asking if they can go, requesting to come, damn near begging when we talk about Elon. But they didn't go. Okay, please pay attention. He says, as we all know now, he was a terrible person and someone I deeply regret associated with. Another thing they all say. And as we all know now, y'all didn't know then? Because it looks like you got some of those emails to and fro around 2013, 2012 and 2013. Sir, Epstein was already tried and convicted, given a sweetheart of a deal for being a whole PDF file in 2008 and 9. Okay, so please, these people exactly knew they were all in on it. Oh my God, this is making me literally sick to my stomach. But let me continue. So he goes on, they go on to say, according to documents included in the broader release of Epstein-related files, most of Teach's correspondence with Epstein appears to be from about 2013. Okay, in one email dated April the 21st of 2013, Epstein appears to be setting up Teach with someone named Katya. That's the email that I had the other day. It says, okay, Jeffrey, I'll be in blue loose pants and white loose shirt. This is what Katya told Epstein. I Googled Steve Teach. Okay, she says, I Googled Steve Teach. He is an Oscar winner, producer, and Giants owner. I'd love to meet him. Phone number redacted. Because she says my phone number is. Okay, yeah, that's not the one I have because I would have known he was the owner. Now, the one I had, the two of them, he was trying to get hooked up with women and trying to get Jeffrey Epstein to do it. But like I said, I thought Tish was a woman. So I'm like, okay, so they had women hooking up with women too. What really did they have going on? Now, a string of emails Tish forwarded to Epstein in May of 2013 appears to reference a different woman Epstein tried connecting to Tish. Okay, the string includes Tish's introductory email to the woman whose name is redacted. Jeffrey Epstein is very excited about you and I meeting each other. And a May 13 email reads, I like that idea. Do you? Teach says he will be in New York and then Boston and proposes a meeting. Let me know if my schedule gives you an opportunity to get together, please. Your picture is great. I definitely had that one. Now, goes on to say, Epstein writes to Teach 2 days later saying she's traveling, not sure when she returns to Florida. She is a microbiology major and is still in university, so I doubt she could travel during the week, but we'll see. You should also make it clear that you will organize her ticket. And Teach later writes back, never heard back from her. Oh, well. So on April the 26th of 2013, email string between Epstein and Teach contains this subject line, Ukrainian girl. Now, in April the 26th, 2013, string email titled Ukrainian Girl says, hi, Jeffrey. I just had lunch with your assistant's friend, name redacted, who I met at your house Wednesday morning. Very sweet girl. Do you know anything about her? Epstein replies, no, but I will ask. I will get all info. Did you contact the great ASS fake tits, name redacted? She's a character short term, but has an older brother going to acting school, a 10 ASS. I am happy to have you as a new, but obviously shared interest friend. As a new but obviously shared interest friend. Okay, Teach replies saying, curious to know about redacted. Okay, I will contact redacted, pro or civilian. Asking a question, pro or civilian. An apparent reference to whether the person is a prostitute. Okay, so do you want to know if she is sweet as she seems? Epstein replies, boyfriends, trustworthy, etc. She's earnest, and she's a civilian. She is a civilian, but Russian, and rarely tells the truth, but fun. Now, at one point, Epstein writes, send me a number to call. I don't like records of these conversations. I bet you don't. The next day, Epstein writes, report just in. You did very well. She wants to go to the play. She is a little freaked by the age difference, but go slow and wait. I'll try to convince her not to return to Ukraine. Having her crying worked. So Epstein, a wealthy businessman, was arrested in 2019 on federal trafficking charges. While awaiting trial, he was found dead in his cell on August the 10th of 2019. The coroner ruled his death was self-deletion. Epstein faced accusations of sexually abusing underage girls. In 2008, Epstein was charged with soliciting a minor for prostitution in Florida. Might as well go ahead and say it. I've said it a number of times. And become a registered ex-offender. He served 13 months of an 18-month prison sentence. A sweetheart deal, like I said. And during that time, he could leave for 12 hours a day. Okay, so he was just in jail to sleep. Please pay attention. Okay, and he was in jail, not a prison, if memory serves me correct. Epstein was well known for his connections with politicians, celebrities, and business executives. The Brooklyn, New York native started his career as a financier at Bear Stearns. He later set up business operations in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Epstein bought an adjacent 72-acre island called Little St. James for just shy of $8 million in 1998, and that was where he allegedly operated his trafficking activities at what is known as Epstein Island. Epstein's former associate, Ghislaine Maxwell, was also implicated and later convicted of related charges. She's serving a 20-year prison stint in Texas. Now, the Justice Department said Friday that it was releasing many more records from its investigative files on Epstein, resuming disclosures under a law intended to reveal what the government knew about the millionaire financier's abuse of young girls and his interactions with rich and powerful people, including Donald Trump and Bill Clinton. Josh Harris, who owns the Washington Commanders, Philadelphia 76ers, and New Jersey Devils, also appeared in the files. But the correspondence was through assistants and was about Epstein wanting to arrange business meetings with Harris when Harris was at Apollo Global Management. Josh Harris never had an independent relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, according to his spokesman. Okay, we're supposed to believe this. Harris sought to prevent Epstein's attempts to develop a corporate relationship with Apollo. As these emails indicate, Harris sought to avoid meeting with Epstein, canceling meetings, and to having others return their calls. Let me tell y'all something. Here's the thing. These people are really getting on my darn nerves because they're trying to act like they didn't know this man was a whole freaking pervert and an S-trafficker and all of that. They knew exactly what he was. And here's the thing. Think about how Harvey Weinstein, finally when he was brought down, Harvey Weinstein had been doing these things. It was an open secret for 3 whole decades. If you watch the documentary about him, 3 whole decades, it was an open secret. That means people knew. And they didn't say anything. They turned a blind eye. Because why? Because he's a rich, wealthy billionaire who makes all of these movies that many of them want to be in. Okay? It's all sick. One box says, when they say alleged in cases like these, we need to know that the courts are holding back truth. At least for the moment, we should be able to discern within the veil. Exactly. Honey, they did every bit of this stuff that's been alleged, in my opinion. I believe they did every last bit of it, including the raping and the murder. Okay, and the sacrifices. I've heard this stuff 1,000 times. This is nothing new to me. I have done so much extensive research on this stuff for years. You all know it. That's why I'm shadow banned, because I came on YouTube talking about this stuff. Okay, years ago. Of course, I didn't know it would be a problem. I didn't realize that there were so many people and conglomerates, corporations that love to protect PDF files and don't want you exposing them or talking about them. I didn't know that. Thank you for your insight to the topic, beloved, and your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. You see, people want to talk about Diddy and want to focus on Diddy. What Diddy did is nefarious, okay, yes. But at the end of the day, those people were complicit. These people were not. These people were children. These people were teenagers. And what is so interesting to me is some people specifically, okay, one person who was going in so hard on Diddy hasn't reported any damn thing on this, won't say a word about it, never has said a word about it. The other day when Jay-Z and Pusha T were mentioned, oh, they popped up from the woodwork and did a whole live going in on Jay-Z and Pusha T, trying to make it all make sense, when the fact of the matter is Jay-Z nor Pusha T had any nefarious accusations about them or against them according to the files. At least not in comparison to what we're listening to. But that's what they do. When somebody does something like that, when they go in and always want to target and focus on the black man, and they don't want to call out the white ones who are doing the same thing and probably taught the black man how to do it, that's a raccoon. Okay, wig number 2 is a whole raccoon, because that's what I'm talking about, in case anyone was wondering. She's a whole raccoon. That's why I can't stand her. She is nothing but a raccoon. She doesn't like black men. She just doesn't. She will always try to make them the source of her disdain, try to paint them in such a nefarious light. Even if some of them are nefarious, what about their counterparts who don't look like them? Oh, you don't want to say anything about all of this nefarious information? Now, maybe because I just went in on her, maybe she will now. But at the end of the day, she's never reported on any of these white folk who have done these things, who've been accused of these things, not one word. Okay, and I want y'all to pay attention. But she had so many thousands upon thousands of videos to do on Diddy. Okay, let's continue. Now, that all being said, they go on to say that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the latest batch included some 3 million pages, as well as more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. Now, the files, which were being posted to the department's website, include some of the several million pages of records that officials said were withheld from an initial release of documents in December. Now, the documents were disclosed under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, which was enacted after months of public and political pressure. It requires the government to open its files on the late financier and Maxwell. Only for nothing to be done. Okay, only for nothing to be done. Now, there you have some of the names of the people that were involved, just low down and nefarious. And also Larry Ellison. I almost forgot about him. Let's not leave him out. Hold on. Let's go to this TikTok. Let's go. Now, hold on. We've got so many people. And I want you all to pay attention. See, here's the thing. Are y'all paying attention? Here's the thing here. So Trump is tied to so many of these people that are in the Epstein files. And these people are people that Trump appointed to big positions. I want y'all to pay attention. Because didn't Trump appoint Brett Kavanaugh? They said something about Kavanaugh. In one of those files, I'm trying to think, do I have it on my X? In one of those files, they talked about Epstein asking about Kavanaugh. He wanted to make sure that Kavanaugh made it to the Supreme Court. That was somebody he wanted to be on the Supreme Court. See, pay attention. Why would Trump pick him? And we know that he had allegations too. Kavanaugh, do y'all remember a woman said that Brett Kavanaugh did something to her when she was in college or high school? That all came out, but they still allowed him to be on the Supreme Court. That would never have been the case for, well, I'm not even going to say it wouldn't have been the case for a black man because Clarence Thomas had accusations too, now as I think about it. But nonetheless, why would Epstein want Kavanaugh to be on the Supreme Court and Donald Trump put Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court? Okay, at the end of the day, these people are all in cahoots. And second of all, then we have the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, who Trump just announced as his pick days ago. And guess what? He too is in the Epstein files. Elon, who he had heading Doge, Epstein files. People that Trump is friends with, Epstein files. Brett Ratner, who produced Melania's new movie, which flopped, by the way. William Barr, okay, Trump's pick, in the Epstein files. You y'all see how all of these wealthy elites, politicians, and y'all think these people are going to do right by us? These people are out here allegedly trafficking people's children. They're out here allegedly taking people to Sodom and Gomorrah. Oh, so sick. But let's go to this video where they talk about Ellison. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. And then I'm going to my X account because I have some things on there that I posted on there that I'm going to show as well.
TikTok, but you know what? The truth is more important. Larry Ellison, the new owner of TikTok and CEO of Oracle, is featured in the Epstein files in an email talking about him wanting to copy Jeffrey Epstein and get his own private party island. Look at this. This is an email from an unknown friend of Jeffrey Epstein. It says, "So, did Larry Ellison get his island because he was jealous of yours?" Folks, this goes way deeper than anybody previously thought. And here's the most scary part of this all. The Trump regime is currently only releasing the files that they're comfortable releasing. The Trump Department of Justice, led by crooked Attorney General Pam Bondi, is currently hiding millions and millions of files. We still only have a fraction of all the files. So if they're okay releasing these files, what else are they hiding? What files are they still trying to withhold from the public? And if this does get me banned from TikTok because I called out its owner using my First Amendment rights, so be it. But help me share the truth about what's happening in this country, because this is beyond plain old corruption at this point. Well,
Y'all hear that? He's not going to ban you, but he'll probably shadow ban you. Okay, that's probably what they'll do. This is all some sick stuff, and I'm going to be honest with you. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. If they're saying that they're not releasing some things because they're not comfortable releasing it, you should ask yourselves, beloveds, what the hell is in those files? What could be worse than what we're already listening to? Okay? What could be worse? Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I'm going to have to do a video for Rumble. I'm going to have to do a video on Rumble about some of this stuff. I know I have said that in the past, but I'm going to have to. Reggie said snuff films. You know what? That's a thought. I'm going to have to do a video on Rumble so I can show all the receipts of the nefariousness, because we're just skimming the surface for right now. If y'all really knew about that stuff that starts with an A and ends with the word Chrome, that's what we was talking about back in 2020 when I got in all that trouble. I got shadow banned. But anywho, let's continue. Okay, so now this right here, let me see what this is. The people are going in on Elon because Elon's sitting here trying to mayo explain, like I told you all. Yeah, let me share my screen. Let me share my screen. This is all a hot mess. Okay, so it says, this is someone replying to Elon. PDF file will bring down the royal family, the CIA, the deep state, the Vatican, Hollywood. It's happening right now, right before your eyes. This is the elite apocalypse. Well, I wish it were. I don't think anything's going to happen to any of these damn devils, but I wish they would all get exactly what they deserve, period. Why did you want to visit the island even after Epstein was already convicted? Someone asked Elon this. Here's what Elon was posting. Or someone else posted this. They tagged him in it. Elon, the emails, including one below, show repeated requests to visit Epstein's island and not the refusal you claimed. Yeah, because he's sitting there saying he refused. He said that one time Epstein tried to bribe him to lure him there by telling him Tish was going to be there, I think. And somebody was going to be there. And then it might have been Woody Allen, that email about Woody Allen. But nonetheless, he said he was just trying to tell him that to get him there. You were more than willing to go. Okay, it's no telling how many times he actually went. Okay, because he said you're always welcome. That means you've been there before. You're always welcome. And then he said he would send a helicopter for him. Okay, now here's another one. They replied to him. They say, let's say I were to believe you for a moment. What about Donald Trump? We haven't forgotten your tweet about that. And here's the tweet right here. If y'all remember when they fell out, Elon tweeted, time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. This is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And then he said, mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. Oh, it is. It is coming out, Elon, and you're a part of it. Now, someone replied to him again saying, you still reached out to a convicted PDF file multiple times about having a wild party in one of his private properties. You might not have physically set foot on Epstein's island, but you're still a disgusting human being. Oh, he set foot on there. As a matter of fact, he set 2 feet on there. Please pay attention. Okay? Please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, male Epstein victim was allegedly R-worded by President Bush and witnessed a baby being dismembered. Okay, we already know about that. Hold on. Oh, let's talk about this right here. Because I told you all Trump was grifting. Okay, I told y'all Trump was grifting us all. Please pay attention. Now, let's get a load of this. 4 days before Trump's inauguration last year, lieutenants to an Abu Dhabi royal secretly signed a deal with the Trump family to purchase a 49% stake in their fledgling cryptocurrency venture for $500 million, according to company documents and people familiar with the matter. The buyers would pay half up front, steering $187 million to Trump family entities. The deal with World Liberty Financial, which hasn't previously been reported, was signed by Eric Trump, the president's son. At least $31 million was also slated to flow to entities affiliated with the family of Steve Witkoff, a World Liberty co-founder who weeks earlier had been named U.S. envoy to the Middle East. Y'all hear this? Nothing but a whole darn grifter. Okay? This man is nothing but a whole darn grifter, and I want y'all to pay attention. This is all egregious. But, you know, Trump's getting away with murder, literally. Okay? And when I say literally, I mean just that. Okay? The way he had those people killed in those boats, those people weren't criminals. They were hardworking, everyday people trying to earn a living. Okay? And this is one, I think this is Elon here. Okay? This one is dated Thursday, December 11th of 2014. Reed was on the island last weekend. Do you think you will be in Carib for Christmas, New Year's? Okay? And then they have the nerve to say the information contained in this communication is confidential, may be attorney-client privilege. Sit down somewhere. Okay, so here we go again. Elon still trying to act like he didn't know what was going on. Now, here's the thing I want to know. I read you all this the other day, but whose name is this? Why the hell did they delete it? Okay, why the hell did they redact the name? Because it says, where are you? Are you okay? I love the torture video. Yeah, somebody sitting up here watching snuff films and BS, and they redacted this person's name, and we know it's not no darn victim. We know it isn't a victim. So why did they redact it? These people are trying to cover up stuff still. Okay, they're still trying to cover up this mess. I am in China. I will be in the U.S. second week of May. sent from my BlackBerry wireless device. Yeah, I wonder who this was. I wish I could remove this darn man. Since April the 24th of 2009, I loved the torture videos. Sick freak. Who in the hell loves a tortured person watching someone be tortured? These people are something else. They don't deserve to breathe air as far as I'm concerned. And I mean that from the bottom. Okay? I am so serious. Now, with that all being said, look at this meme about Trump. If you idiots haven't figured it out yet, the only reason I wanted to be president again was to get retribution, get rich, and keep my ass out of prison. I don't care about your puny lives. And that's what he really thinks too. We aren't being governed, we're being looted. Donald Trump will go down in history as the first American president to have willingly betrayed his own country in service to a foreign enemy. His acts of treason will be taught in history books for generations to come. And the name Trump will be synonymous with treachery. Yeah, it will. His name's going to be mud. Now look at this. Here's another one. Let's get into this one about Trump right here. Okay, 4 days before Trump's inauguration. Okay, that's the same thing that we already read. But here he is. There he is right there, making deals. Okay, just getting rich, grifting, having innocent people murdered and all kind of sick stuff. And then this video right here is about John Podesta. Now, John Podesta was all up and through Hillary's emails.
Children rented for entertainment.
Watch this video about John Podesta.
Podesta himself can explain the code words in his emails.
Hey, John Podesta, can you please explain why you have children rented for entertainment for your adult hot tub parties? No one has ever explained why John Podesta has literal pedophile and cannibalism paintings all over his office and his home. Tony Podesta too. And then you look into the Spirit cooking dinners, and you look into Marina Abramovic.
Okay. Now, I can't show all of that video. Some of it was just too nefarious. I want y'all to pay attention. But that is John Podesta. All right. That's the man that was Hillary Clinton's campaign advisor in 2016. All right. He was all up and through those files and Hillary's emails. Hold on. I'm about to show you all a video. Now, I have to pause it or mute it because they're playing music. But this woman is showing you all of these children with Epstein. Hold on. This is all some sick stuff. Epstein files, what I found after 4 hours. Look at there. That's a child's hand. It's a little hand. And there he is, another one. Freak. Look at all those pictures. This is all sick.
We're talking about literal children. As a mom, I'm speechless. People in power continue to protect people like these. Children, literal fucking children.
Okay, all sick. All just so darn sick and disgusting at the end of the day. But let's continue. Now, Howard Lutnick, okay, he's a lying piece of you-know-what as well, because he's in the Epstein files.
That was Howard Lutnick last.
After he sat there and told us to our faces that he refused to go. He didn't want anything to do with it. My wife wouldn't let me go. That was the last time I ever saw that man's face again. only to find out you are all up and through the files.
My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. So I was never in the room with him.
That was Howard Lutnick last year saying the last time he saw Jeffrey Epstein was 2005. That disgusting man. Except in the Epstein files, it's clear he and his wife went to see Jeffrey Epstein on his island, December 2012. And it looks like he also had drinks with Jeffrey Epstein in 2011. You know, he knows that Jeffrey Epstein is who he is. He's already been convicted once. But why is he going to see him? Because he has no morals and he sees an opportunity, likely, to make some money. And that's really what drives Howard Lutnick. He will abandon everything to make money. And that's true for everyone in Donald Trump's cabinet. They're all on the take. They're all trying to make more money. That's why they're there. They're not there to improve the country. They don't care if the country goes to ruin as long as they get what they think is theirs. What do they have to do to get in on the grift? Howard Lutnick have to get on the grift. They have to say that January 6th was a walk in the park. They have to say that Donald Trump really won the election in 2020. They have to say that tariffs don't really affect the American consumer. We're paying for it. And long list of lies. Plus, they had to attend a movie just the other night about the president's wife and say it's the greatest thing ever. And they had to stay awake through the whole thing. People who voted for Trump and cynics like to say, oh, everybody's like that. No, not everybody's like that. I'm not like that. You, if you're watching this, likely aren't like that. We've never had a presidency like this. They are all robbing this country blind. They're all in on the grift. We've never seen anything like this in the White House before. And it's not because they're conservative. I live right next door to the Hoover Institute. I've known people there past and present who are perfectly fine people. But in the White House, they're all crooks. They're grifting for tens of millions, hundreds of millions. The guy at the top has grifted for $4 billion and counting. And the people in the cabinet, they know Donald Trump did stuff with teenage girls, criminal stuff. They don't care. What we have abandoned by electing Trump is knowingly abandon basic human decency. And the next time someone tells you, oh, they all do it, you know what? You should just slap them across the face.
Nasty freaks. Okay, nasty freaks. It's a darn shame. Hold on, because I got more.
My wife and I decided.
Is it a crime?
Now, can somebody explain why all these grown men have surrounded these children? Looks to be all girls with different variations of blonde hair. Did y'all notice? What's really going on here? These freaks, man, I'm telling you, this is all so deplorable. I'm going to play what William Cooper said in a minute. It says, you'll never find justice in a world where criminals make all the rules. It's facts. Oh, yeah. Did y'all see that? Let me make that a little bigger for you. Y'all see that? What the hell is that? This is all a part of their satanic BS. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. It's all egregious. This is when they're talking about Bill Clinton and Hillary, what they did to Haiti, which I told you all about in 2020. Stole all that darn money they supposedly collected and only built 6 houses.
Is in the Epstein files, and they were planning the downfall of Haiti. And this is what I want people to understand. Everything that's happening in Haiti right now is extremely strategic. So when my people are protesting, let them protest. So let me read this for you because you guys may not be able to read it. In this picture that is being referenced above, it says, here is one of the most valuable photos in the world. You can't even put a price tag on this intel. What you are looking at is Neil Kenny Geyer, one of the world's most powerful geopolitical masterminds. He is the husband of the granddaughter of J.C. Penney, Alyssa Kenny Geyer. She took this photo from inside the Davos World Economic Forum. What this photo shows is literally the blueprint, the planning, and the masterminding of the economic raping of Haiti. It is well known that the Clintons ripped off Haiti. What's not known is who wrote the plan and who the true masterminds are. Well, I have intel on all of that and then some. The Kenny Geyers are some of the worst, the most shady people in the world. They are mostly certainly in Epstein's circle as well. I've been documenting their corruption for years, and now I'm ready to blow the whistle big time. This picture is the smoking gun of global proportions. Let's chat. I really need your help.
Y'all hear that? So they had a plot to bring down Haiti. Of course they did. The United States can't stand Haiti. Okay. Hold on. I read y'all that yesterday.
No black girls allowed on Epstein Island. Here's why. Jeff gave in at some point and told him, yes, I'll find some friends. Jeff wanted young, fresh girls, virgins. He told, don't bring me.
Don't bring any jiggers.
In words.
Okay.
Never ever brought any friends. At this point in the interview, attorney Barry advised the following. At Epstein's request, she at times met people on the beach and may have told them something to the effect of, if you want to party, go to Epstein's. Following statement, shook her shoulders and head in the affirmative, clarified that after what Jeff had done to her, she did not want it, the grapes and actual assaults, to be repeated. And she decided finding other girls for him, strangers she found in town, might spare her more abuse.
That's a darn shame, because what he essentially did was he turned a victim into a predator as well. Because if a victim is going out finding other people for the predator to further victimize, that makes them guilty as well. And so that's what he was doing. He was criminalizing these young girls. And of course they would do it because, like she said, she didn't want to be further victimized. Oh, so sad. You know, with that all being said, there was one more video that I had to show you all. It was a video of Epstein. Somebody asked me, was that picture real? Yes, that picture was real. Hold on. Let me find that video of Epstein when he was playing with these children. He was chasing them around or something. I think I shared that this morning. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. Is this it?
Pflegestelle unter
And this very sentiment is still very prevalent today. Placing sexual education in the hands of authorities other than the parents, even for small children and toddlers, is just a gateway drug and enabling for pedophiles. Furthermore,
Hold on. That's not what I'm looking for. Let me go one more time, beloveds. Hold on. Here it is right here. Now I'm gonna mute this because they got music playing. But look at Epstein. This is so weird. Weirdo. Trying to dance. Y'all see that? Can't dance a lick and sitting up there dancing like Trump. That's who he reminds me of. Neither one of them can dance. It's barely moving. Hold on. I'm looking for that video where he was running around. There was 3 children, at least 3 or 4 children, and he was chasing them around. Darn it, I don't know what I did with it. Okay, so we'll continue. Now, let me just go to what William Cooper had to say. Y'all know I love me some William Cooper. He was always a truth speaker. That's why they assassinated him. First person, one of the first people that woke me up.
Yet. And I can assure you that even if you're a 33rd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite, there are degrees.
Now listen, because in this video, he's telling you about these different, chapters and different groups of Masons. Okay. A lot of this stuff is explained in a book that I have called Ruled by Secrecy. Talks about all this stuff. But also he's going to tell you how the government or the United States will be destroyed from the inside out. And isn't that interesting? Because that's exactly what Trump's doing. And I told you all that Trump's job that he's been put in place to do in this position of power and authority is for him to dismantle the U.S. from the inside out.
Yet. And I can assure you that even if you're a 33rd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite, there are degrees over you. For beyond that degree, they disappear behind what is called the veil. See, I know more about your order and your lodge than most of you ever will if you live to be 210. You don't even understand most of your own ceremonies. You just go through them because that's what you got to do to get the next degree and be loved by your brothers. You are part of a subversive organization that is destroying this country from within. You see, this country is not being destroyed by some invading army. It's being destroyed exactly as our forefathers said could be the only way that it would be destroyed, and that is from within. Most of the people who have had a hand in the destruction of this great nation have been Freemasons, members of the Rosicrucians, members of the Knights of Malta, the Golden Dawn, Templi Ordo Orientalis, and I could go on and on and on. B'nai B'rith, that's a biggie. B'nai B'rith doesn't mean Jews any more than Freemasonry means Lutherans. And there's another big player in all of this that most of you have never heard about, and that's the Order of St. John of Jerusalem. All of these organizations at their highest level are subversive. Their allegiance is only to the order in the worldwide brotherhood. They're citizens only of their own government and none other. And at the highest degrees, they take the oath called the Kol Nidre, and they mean it literally. It negates and does away with all other oaths. You see, the rights yet.
Okay, so on the up though, said William Cooper, I read his book Behold a Pale Horse. Yeah, I read it too. I still have that book to this day. in pristine condition. Now, with that all being said, back in the day when I got that book back in the 90s, they basically were saying that if you purchased that book, they were going to put your name on a list. Okay, now listen, that which we must say to the crowd is we worship God, but it is the God that one adores without superstition. Okay, to you, sovereign grand inspectors general, we say this, that you may repeat it to the brethren of the 32nd, 31st, and 30th degrees. The Masonic religion should be by all of us initiates of the high degrees maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. If Lucifer were not God, would Adonai, Jesus, spread false and harmful statements about him? Yes, Lucifer is God. Do y'all hear this? You all remember I told you all that person who was a Mason tried to get me to become an Eastern Star, talking about how powerful I could be in their organization because I'm such a good speaker and I'm so intelligent and all of that. And I told him, no, thank you, because I know that y'all worship Satan. And then he had this look of shock on his face, like, how did I know that? And then he said, well, not all of us. I said, yeah, even if it's one or two, that's too much. No thanks. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, but I don't do pacts with the devil under any circumstances. Like it or not, everything is changing. The result will be the most wonderful experience in the history of man, or the most horrible enslavement that you can imagine. Be active or abdicate. The future is in your hands. It was agreed that a nation or world of people will not use their intelligence or no better. A world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. Silent weapons for quiet wars. Okay, Operations Research Technical Manual. I guess that's a book to read. A document dated May of 1979 was found on July the 7th of 1986 at an IBM copier that had been purchased at a surplus sale. This quote was often used by William Cooper as he spent his life trying to warn any and all who would listen and act. Were his efforts and his life given in vain? Well, if you ask me, I'm going to say yes. And unfortunately, I think it was, because many people still have not waken up. And how you know that this is true is because we still have all of these people that voted for Trump. Okay, all of these people that still voted and back for Trump. Now, hold on. Let me show you all this video. This was very disturbing. This was very disturbing. Now, this young freak right here, a 21-year-old boy with a 25-year-old boyfriend, they were both supposedly trying to adopt a 9-year-old. But I think this is a cop talking to him. They never show the person's face, but they're asking him about watching corn. Okay, now I'm going to have to pause it for a second when he says a certain phrase. Hold on.
Well, yeah, I'm not officially adopting him. My boyfriend is.
Your boyfriend's adopting him. How old's your boyfriend?
Are you recording me?
On there, yeah.
He's 25.
Okay. Is he aware of the stuff you watch? No? Okay. So, what's the young...
Now, he asked him, what's the youngest age of people that he watches when he chokes his chicken? Okay, now I'm going to skip past that. Hold on.
Oh.
Tell me the truth, man. What did it look like?
He was a young kid.
How old did he look?
Probably like 3.
3. And how old's the guy y'all are trying to adopt? The kid you're trying to adopt?
9.
He's 9. So you told me that on Telegram you've received videos of 3 to 10-year-olds, and you're trying to adopt probably an abused 9-year-old boy. You kidding me? Okay. Well, that's that's not happening now, right? That's over.
Am I going to jail?
I don't know about that, but he's not going to be in this house anymore. I'm going to make sure of that.
I'll leave. Don't do that, please. I'll leave, please. I will leave. Like, please.
Now, here's the thing. I don't know if this is a cop or not, like I said, but he asked, am I going to jail? And the guy says, I don't know about that. Well, if he's watching things that have minors doing inappropriate things, yeah, he's supposed to go to jail. That's all felony. But let's continue.
Don't do that to him. He does not need that. He does not deserve that. I will go. Please don't
He's
do
living
that
with a pedophile.
Please don't do that to him. Please.
Call the cops on this motherfucker.
Please, guys. What?
Okay, so he wasn't a police officer because he said call the cops on him. Honey, these people are sick. Do y'all hear this? It's a darn shame. Freaks. Okay, so now with that all been said, I'm about to conclude this broadcast. Ethelene said adopted his boyfriend. No, that's not what happened, beloved. Listen, he and his boyfriend, who's 25, he's 21. His boyfriend was supposed to be adopting a 9-year-old, probably for them to do nefarious things to, because that guy was telling him that he's a PDF file. Okay, and so that's why they call the police on him, and thank God. They probably have already been doing stuff to that poor kid. Wonder where they got the kid from. Let me tell you all something. When I was growing up, there was a piano player at my church by the name of Michael Cunningham. Michael Cunningham only lived to be 24 years old. He died from AIDS when he was 24. He had contracted it because he had been, just promiscuous and just doing all kinds of stuff in his life. He was an alcoholic. He had cirrhosis of the liver. He just had so many problems and he just wouldn't take care of his health. And people used to pick on him. But come to find out, the reason Michael had all of these problems and issues is because he was adopted by 2 men when he was growing up and they were doing nefarious things to him. Okay, childhood trauma. Sadly, people carry that into their adult lives and it can destroy them like it did Michael. On the day that Michael died, me and my aunt went to see him that morning because at our church, we were having an appreciation day for him that night on a Saturday. We're having an appreciation day for him because we want to show how we appreciate all the stuff that he does, how he's, been so active in the church and plays the piano for us and everything or whatever. But guess what? He died that day. When we went to see him, we took him some food and stuff and went to see him or whatever and asked him about what time he's going to get ready if we need to pick him up. And he told us that he was ready to go. And we were like, go where? He looked really bad. And my aunt was like, you need to go to the hospital, Michael. You want us to take you there? And he said, no, I'm ready to go. And she was like, go where? He said, die. He said, I'm just tired. I'm ready to leave here. And he got back in the bed and laid down and told us he loved us and everything and all of that. And he died. And that was a very, very sad story. But at the end of the day, this is what happens to children. This is what can happen to children who have these nefarious things done to them at young ages. That's why I deplore demented, sick, deranged, depraved people who do things to children. And it even makes me even more angry that people in positions of power don't seem to care because they don't do anything about it. Why in the hell in 2026 are we just now hearing about all the nefarious things that went on with Jeffrey Epstein in his mansions on that island and all of these people that were involved? And there's many more that we don't even know about and likely never will. Why has nothing been done about it despite victims having come forward? And some of those victims are dead, disappeared. It's all so egregious. At the end of the day, we are living in Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, I just want y'all to know that. It is a darn shame. Now, I had some more things to talk about, but listen, y'all know I don't want to be on here over 2 hours, so I'm going to conclude this broadcast, and I'm going to have to come back because we need to talk about ICE. Now, I got to change my title and take ICE's name out of it because when I come back, we got to talk about all this nefarious stuff that's going on with ICE, Trump, and his whole nefarious, lying, no good administration. Okay, I got receipts. All right, so with that all being said, I will come back at about 7. Okay, I'll come back at about 7. So you all make sure you tune in. If you don't get the notification, check the channel. Check the channel because I am coming back. Like I said, y'all know I might be a few minutes late as usual. Okay, so with that all being said, let me take ICE off of here. Okay, so with that all being said, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Hey, yo, Nick, Hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got